Hi, Scott Livingston here from Reconditioning HQ, and today what we're going to talk about is the squat. We're going to talk a little bit about the movement pattern itself, where some of the limiting areas can be, and what we should do to make sure that those areas are actually functioning. So we're going to take a look at Eric doing a squat, and I'm just going to talk you through some of the key points. Eric's going to do a normal squat with no load as he squats down. What we need to have is we need to have adequate ankle dorsiflexion. We have to have good knee flexion and extension, and we need to have good hip flexion and extension. We need to have a solid cylinder or trunk where we don't get too much extension in the spine. So as Eric comes down, nice clean spine. When he gets to the bottom, stay there. We want to have a shin angle and torso angle. They're parallel with one another. Now, all these are the things that we want in our squat, but ultimately, how do we know that we have a hardware problem that's limiting them, or we have a software motor control problem that's the problem? So what we want to do is we want to break that down. First thing we do, put them up on the table. So they go on all fours. And when they go on all fours, toes up on the table, what we want to do is get Eric up in what we call a quadruped position, make sure that he's able to actually set this up properly, and then I'm going to ask him to sit back onto his heels, and what I want to see is that none of this changes, that he's got adequate movement through the hips, there's no shifting down here. So if I saw a shift when they were squatting or something I didn't like about the torso, I unload the torso. Is it now good looking, or does it still look bad? If it's not good looking, then we're going to have to work on cleaning it up. If it looks fine, then we know that there's a motor control issue, their inability from a software perspective to control and manifest a squat. The other thing we want to look at is how the joints in that series line up and whether they function properly. So we lie him on his back. We still don't know if his hip is a limiting factor or anything. So normally I would take the shoes off, but for the case of the video, what I would normally do is look at dorsiflexion in both feet. What's the availability of that? Look at it with a knee straight and knee bent reality. This is a quick example, but basically I can look at a lot of things in the ankle. What is his knee movement? And obviously I would look at this on both sides. And then I'm going to ask him to bring his knee up through flexion. Don't touch it, Eric. Yeah, just bring it up through flexion. I want to see the pathway of that movement. Is it external? Is it neutral? Is there a rotation to it, etc.? And then I'm going to take it passively through and see how does it move passively. Bottom line, I want to see that both sides, ankle, knee, hip, move the same. Last thing is, there's a lot of discussion about what's the best position for you to be in a squat and how the hips should lie. Bottom line is, what do the hips give you? If the hips comfortably go through flexion into that sort of neutral state close to the chest and shoulder, then uptake it in the squat. But if on both sides there's a nice little bit of an external rotation and abduction strategy, that's where the hip wants to go, and it's otherwise normal and both sides are the same, then squat it a little wider. We don't want to force it into a pathway that it shouldn't be in. So that's the bottom line. When we want to work on these kinds of things like a squat, we want to make sure, do we have all the normalized availability in all the joints? Can we create a good solid trunk? And can we control all of that stuff through the whole movement? If we can do all that, then we want to see, can we do it with load? So all those things should stay the same when we put a bar on our back, when we squat with loads around our hip, when we're doing a kettlebell type of movement, whatever it is, those things should stay the same. Those strategies should retain, and we should see a good, clean squat with or without load. Thanks, hope this is helpful, and we'll see you again soon.